Australian Open Day 2 Recap. Eala's tennis fandom and court assignment quandaries. Welcome to the Australian Open briefing, where the athletic will explain the stories behind the stories on each day of the tournament. On day 2, one Rising Stars fans took over the tournament. Coco Gauff moved forward, and a 370-day wait for a win came to an end. How did one player's fans take over the tournament? From soon after the gates opened at Melbourne Park, fans were making for Court 6, a small field court, in their droves. By lunchtime, a line to enter a court with a capacity of less than 1,500 snaked all around the perimeter and much of the grounds, all in search of one player, Eala of the Philippines. Eala, the 20-year-old world number 49, is nothing less than a sensation at these big tournaments in big cities, and organizers haven't quite figured out how to get her on courts that can accommodate her fans. Never more so than in Australia, where more than 400,000 residents have Filipino heritage. The Filipino and Southeast Asian faithful who didn't get in turn the bar overlooking the court and the neighboring food court into their own fan zone. The noise from inside the stands was deafening, especially in the first set, as Eala raced to a 6-0 lead against Alicia Parks of the U.S. They cheered for everything, including, and especially, Parks' mistakes. When the American missed 2 overheads in succession to be broken in the opening game, it was like Eala had won the match. But Parks, whose powerful serve and first ball always had the chance to overtake Eala's comparatively softer delivery, stood up to the noise and stayed clear-eyed. She won 0-6, 6-3, 6-2, quietening the crowd for the day. But Eala said in her news conference, not for any longer. That's one of the things that makes a loss like today a little bit harder, is I know a lot of people were rooting for me. She said, I just hope that the support continues with the losses along with the wins. I think that would really touch me. Prue Ryan, a spokesperson for Tennis Australia, said organizers take multiple factors into consideration when scheduling. After weighing all factors, including the significant popularity of a range of players, Court 6 was the best option in terms of capacity and accessibility, she said in a statement. That accessibility included standing room on a new high-line structure. Parks said that the cheering for missed serves and mistakes threw her a bit, and she found herself focusing on the crowd instead of her game. Then she stopped, and that made all the difference. I was expecting it, but I wasn't. She definitely has a good crowd, she said in her news conference. I just kept telling myself to stay in the zone. For Eala, who said that some parts of her first Australian Open have been overwhelming, the art of being herself from point to point and being an avatar for her archipelago is still a balancing act. The crowds that roar her to victory can also bring pressures of their own. The Eala phenomenon, and the similar raucousness that has greeted João Fonseca as he begins his career, puts a different kind of pressure on organizers. When a player's popularity far outstrips the ranking, how do they balance fan experience and accessibility to the players people want to see with the established order of the sport? Matt Futterman, how did a long wait come to an end? With a return winner cracked from almost in the stands, number 11 seed Daniil Medvedev moved past Jesper de Jong of the Netherlands 7-5, 6-2, 7-6-2. He also ended a 370-day wait for something that former Grand Slam champions and players on the cusp of the top 10 do not tend to have to wait for: a first-round win at a Grand Slam. At last year's Australian Open, Medvedev, who was then defending finalist points, survived 5 sets against world number 4 18 Casadit Samraj of Thailand in the opening round. He then lost to Lerner Tien before Tien was a top 30 player. He didn't win another match at a major, losing twice to Benjamin Bonzi at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, the latter in ignominy, and at the French Open to Cameron Norrie. That string of losses contributed to 2025 feeling more like an annus horribilis for Medvedev than it truly was. His record at other ATP Tour events was reasonable, despite issues with his physicality and a feeling of backsliding in his game. It was the major drought that really scuppered his year.